Week 7 of the NFL is over, and I'm not wearing sweatpants. But, moving on to the Monday night game. I'm sorry I had to bring that up. Bryce, for some reason, is wearing sweatpants in October. Monday night.
I'm a dad.
Monday night, the Lions faced the Bears, and I'm pretty sure that you called for this victory for the Lions, right?
I don't remember.
Do we need to play it back?
No.
Can we play it back?
I did call for Lions in my defense. The Bears did handle the game pretty much throughout the game. They only lost by 6 points, which, I mean, the touchdown was the very end, but they were...
30 seconds left.
They were still...
Screwed my fantasy league up. Go ahead.
They were still... They weren't in the game. I can't say it. They weren't in the game. The only reason I said this is because Jay Cutler is a train wreck. I still have no faith in him as a quarterback, but the Lions turned it over 4 times in this game. You're not going to win against anybody in the NFL turning it over 4 times.
Lions offense, to use your word, is a train wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Complete and total. I don't think Megatron actually got his first catch until late in the third quarter.
He didn't do anything.
He was just a non-factor. The Bears defense stepped up and played a really good game. 13-7 was the final score on Monday night.
The Bears defense is lights out.
That's why I picked him in the high rounds in all 3 of my fantasy leagues. Moving on, the Sunday night game, Steelers-Bengals. A really, really big matchup for the Steelers. The Steelers needed this game bad. And they pull it out 24-17. Big Ben had a pretty decent game, 278 yards passing, a touchdown.
He just keeps producing. And on all these, it's not even really a big game, but it's I wouldn't say a must-win, but a good win, a good quality win. And it just seems like whenever you need Big Ben to step up in whatever situation it is, he always does it, no matter if it's the playoffs or regular season.
And we have a Georgia Tech, speaking of Megatron, and we also have another Georgia Tech sighting, Jonathan Dwyer. 122 yards, just completely had an outstanding game. Went between tackles, went on the outside. He had a really, really solid game.
A lot of people, I've heard a few people on the radio this week comparing him to Jerome Bettis. I don't know if I want to put him in that category yet because he's a legend for the Steelers, but he does, his running style is very similar to that of Jerome Bettis. But yeah, Dwyer looked terrific.
24-17 is the final, Steelers over Bengals. Moving on to the Sunday afternoon games, let's start with Jets at Patriots. Jets, one of the first AFC matchups that we talked about last week, that all 4 of the AFC East teams were tied.
Yeah, 3-3.
Jets actually lose this one. Not to their discredit, they came back. 13 points in the fourth quarter to come back and tie it, for them to lose by field goal is not bad.
That's 3 out of the past 4 weeks. The Patriots have allowed a pretty substantial comeback in the fourth quarter of their opponents.
And Mark Sanchez is trying to prove his doubters wrong. 328 yards, a touchdown. Sean Green had another decent game, 54 yards rushing. But Tom Brady, 259 yards, 2 touchdowns. He continues to excel. But he also, it seems like Tom Brady's not the same Tom Brady of old.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be making mistakes that aren't Tom Brady has.
He's up there, but it's better for him to do it this year because of the balance on offense. He has a run game that's actually a lot better this year than it has been in the years past. So he can get away with some of those mistakes because, A, his defense isn't nearly as bad as it was last year, and B, they have a little bit of a run offense with Bolden and Ridley.
In one of the most just completely awful games of the week, Jaguars faced the Raiders, and you think, who cares at this point?
It does.
But first things first, in this game, we have to talk about Maurice Jones-Drew going down. He's got, was it a hurt foot, I believe?
Yeah, fractured foot or something like that.
It's not fractured.
It's not fractured. That's right. They did an MRI today. But yeah, he is hurt. He's going to be out for, I think they said 3 to 4 weeks, maybe longer. That's really all the Jaguars have is MJD. I mean, what are you going to do now? Just Gabbert all day?
And Blaine Gabbert's actually kind of questionable at this point, too. So you're looking at a really, really rough Jaguars offense.
I'm not even sure.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, if Gabbert's their starter, their backup can't be too good.
Carson
Maybe
Palmer
they should trade for Caleb Haney.
Carson Palmer had a decent game, 298 yards, a touchdown. Raiders prevail in overtime, 26-23. Moving on. Ravens at Texans, one of the biggest games of the week. Can I get it down? Okay.
SmackDown.
All right. Ravens lose this game big, 43-13. Houston just came out and just laid the lumber on them early and often. Yeah, I went there.
Houston was coming back after that. I wouldn't say an embarrassment, but kind of a weird loss to the Packers last week. They came out and made a statement against the Ravens, who a lot of people were saying were the number 2 AFC team. And if you've looked at the Ravens, I know they've kind of hung their hat on defense the past few years, but with Webb out, Ray Lewis out, and Suggs not technically what I would call game conditioned, that defense has been one of the worst they've ever had in the past probably. When was Ray Lewis a rookie? 13, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, this is historically one of their worst defenses they've had in the past century and a half.
Texans win, like I said, 40-13. It's just a big game overall for everybody. Moving on to your game, do we really? I mean, I know, yeah, it's a win, but it was really close.
It's a win. It was very close. A lot of people they're really getting on Cam Newton, and I understand that.
Can't blame him.
I understand that his second year, he had such a tremendous rookie year. You can't expect him to back that up in his second year. He wouldn't have done it.
It doesn't matter.
But
that's what media does. They expect things.
I agree. I agree with the media, but a logical fan standpoint, you can't expect Cam Newton.
You're expecting logic?
Yeah,
Come on.
I know, but you can't expect Cam to come out in his sophomore year and reproduce what he did in his rookie year when what he did in his rookie year was so amazing. What I'm really worried about is Cam is I don't think he's handling adversity well.
Nope.
I think he needs a veteran leader on that offense or defense or just somewhere on that team to come and try to take him under his wing and show him how to get through adversity and fight back. So what if you have a bad sophomore year? Come back next season, work harder, just keep improving. You're a second-year quarterback. You have a long NFL career ahead of you if you can figure out how to fix the mistakes and not go the road of Vince Young and Jamarcus Russell.
I know a lot of Georgia fans are really happy to see Cam Newton struggle like this. Cam Newton did actually come out in his press conference shortly after the game and say, look, something's got to change.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, I believe, Panthers announced that they have fired their general manager.
Mm-hmm.
So something did change.
That was a big change.
And that was the general manager had been there since 2002. So it's a big change for Carolina.
10 years.
Moving on, the winless Saints are no longer winless anymore, and after they come off of a bye, get a win and then get a second win against the Buccaneers, 35-28.
High school team, so.
Wow!
That was just
I'm
for
sure
Jeremy
Jeremy and Matt are real happy to see this. Breeze throws 4 touchdowns. He continues his prowess basically through the air. Josh Freeman had another outstanding game, 420 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Just a fantastic game.
Buccaneers' offense is very good. The problem is they can't stop anybody. I mean, the Buccaneers' pass defense, I believe, is in the 31st or 32nd in the NFL, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But I know it's near the bottom. And in a league where it's pass heavy and in the NFC South where you have 2 extremely good quarterbacks and one in Cam Newton who at any given day can come out and perform just as good as Breeze or Ryan, that's not a good problem to have.
True, and to be honest with you, when a normal fan just looks at a box score and they look and go, okay, offensive yards, Tampa Bay wins. Turnovers, they didn't turn anything over, and the Saints did.
Mm-hmm.
Time of possessions, they led by almost 9.5 minutes.
Almost 10 minutes.
So you're looking at that and you're going, Tampa Bay didn't win?
Mm-hmm. No, it's a surprise.
I mean, their defense is just horrific right now. Mm-hmm. Their pass defense, like you said, is just downright awful. Mm-hmm. Moving on to a really, really exciting game in the NFC East. The Redskins face the Giants in New York.
I'll tell you what, the more I see of RG3, the more of a believer I come in him.
He has been fantastic. 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, including a real big one with 1.5 minutes left to go in the game. Unfortunately, you left 1.5 minutes left to go in the game for Eli Manning.
Yeah, for Eli Manning, who I believe now has the most fourth quarter comeback wins since 2 or 3 years ago, I believe. I think he has 8, and Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers are tied with 6.
It's ridiculous. And First of all, shame on you, Washington Redskins defense, for allowing Victor Cruz to get behind you.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was
a
77-yard touchdown.
That's unacceptable. That's another. I mean,
or 73.
That's another one of those offense that can click on any given day, and that defense lets them down time and time again.
Unfortunately for the Skins, they lose a heartbreaker, 27-23. Vikings continue. They're 5-2 now, 21-14 over the former undefeated Cardinals. Now they're
4-3.
They're now just falling apart right now.
They have no offensive line. I mean, the tackles cannot protect the quarterback. It's almost comical to watch. No matter what quarterback is back there, Cobb or Stanton, they just get destroyed in the pocket. I want to say they've allowed 9 sacks in the past 2 games, or some astronomical number, and it's just it kind of hurts to watch the quarterbacks back there. I feel for the guys because their tackles aren't giving them any type of protection.
Again, and this is just an analyst thing. When you look at it, Arizona led in offensive yards. They tied for turnovers. They both had 2 turnovers. And Arizona led by 11 minutes in time of possession. And on top of everything, Christian Ponder only threw for 58 yards.
He had to step back, but luckily he has a machine on his roster.
153 yards rushing by Adrian Peterson and a touchdown.
A complete machine.
And Bryce was telling me that I was just an awful pick as my first overall pick in the draft, and he should be eating his crow at this point.
You know who has the most 20-yard runs from scrimmage in the NFL? Adrian Peterson, number 1, coming off an MCL and ACL tear. Number 2 is Jamal Charles, coming off the exact same injury.
Wow. Packers are continuing to come back. They were down in the dumps not too long ago. They were 2-3 a few weeks ago. Now they're 4-3. They're now clicking on all cylinders. Aaron Rodgers throws for 342 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Robo Rodgers is back. He is zoned in, locked in, and he's locked into Randall Cobb, who is becoming a terrific young starlet.
And Cobb didn't even lead the team in receiving yards.
Jordy Nelson did.
122 yards and a touchdown for Jordy Nelson. Bradford had 255 yards, a touchdown. Not bad showing for Bradford. Just it's hard when you run up against Aaron Rodgers on a good day.
And Rams kicker Greg Zerlin hit a 50-yarder in that game. I believe he now leads the NFL in 50-yard field goals.
Wow. 30-20 final score Packers over the Rams. Mm-hmm. Browns face off against the Colts. Another really tight one. 17-13 final score for the Colts over the Browns. Luck just continues to find wins in just the most weird places, just coming back from any kind of adversity.
He had 2 rushing touchdowns this game. That's he's not one of those mobile quarterbacks that you pop in your head. I think a big key for the Browns is they need Trent Richardson to be healthy. Mm-hmm. They have to have some balance. I believe Brandon Weeden threw 50-plus pass attempts, I think, or 40-plus pass attempts. 41 pass attempts, and that's a rookie quarterback. You're giving him 40-plus pass attempts in a game. That's a high order task from a rookie quarterback. They really need to bring Trent Richardson back healthy and have that balance in the offense.
Monterio Hardesty had 28 yards rushing for the Browns, so it's just awful. Mm-hmm. Moving on to the other big outcome of the week, Chris Johnson
went off 195 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns.
He just had a fantastic game. 35-34 final score Titans over Bills. Bills, you lose a heartbreaker. That was just a really, really tough thing to lose.
The Bills' rushing defense in the past 4 games has been atrocious. They're allowing 234 yards per game on the ground. Their last 4 they've played against Chris Johnson, Titans elite. Powell, that's not real elite. Frank Gore from the 49ers, elite. And then Bolden and Ridley both went over the century mark from New England. So, I mean, that has to be a big concern for Buffalo is that rush defense.
Tough loss for the Bills. Moving on to the Thursday night game, the 49ers pull out a victory after getting embarrassed the week before against the Giants, 13-6.
Good hard-nosed defensive battle.
You got to watch this game, right?
I did.
So, I mean, because I have cable, guys, so I don't get to watch NFL Network. Bryce does.
He still hasn't figured out what the internet is.
But a really good win for the 49ers. The Seahawks, I continue to be impressed with Russell Wilson. He's doing what he needs to do as a rookie, especially on a team that's actually pretty decent.
Besides Marshawn Lynch, I just don't know where that offense is going to come from. I don't know where the points are going to come from or the yards. Russell Wilson is a good quarterback. He's a good rookie quarterback who's doing well. He just has no weapons. Who's he going to throw to? City Rice, Golden Tate? I mean, both of those are good B receivers, but they're not the A receiver that you'd want.
Obamanu was the leading receiver. Speaking of Obamanu, sorry.
You put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
My bad. Final score 13-6. And that
Frank Gore had 182 all-purpose yards. He is the key to the 49ers' success because Alex Smith, again, took another step back.
That's a really good stat that you have, Seattle.
Oh, Seattle is 0-3 inside the division, but they are 4-0 outside the division, including wins over the Patriots and the Packers. The NFC West.
Are we counting the win against the Packers?
Hey, they have a win. I mean, it says it in the.
Just making sure.
It says a win.
For the Week 7 recap, this has been Bryce and Billy. Thanks, guys, for watching.